Good evening. I'm so glad that y'all are here. You are watching Paranormal Experienced with Kat Hobson. That's me. And I am really glad that you are. It's been an interesting week all over the country with weather and the whole brouhaha that is our government right now and everything. And I really feel like we need to be flowing peace and healing. There's a lot of you who listen regularly who do this and do it very, very well. And peace, healing, do not pray for patience. Do not try to build patience. We have enough stuff building that right now. Do not go there. But, to bring peace. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care who you're going to vote for. I don't care who you think is whatever. You need to pray for us as a nation and pray with all that you have, the positivity that you have, just to bring peace. It sorts itself out. It will sort itself out. There's a lot happening. So let's just go with the whole peace thing. We don't need people angry. It makes for wars and ugly acting and, negativity. And negativity breeds negativity. So peace breeds peace. It's a lot more powerful. People just don't give it a chance. There's a song about that. But anyway, that being said, I'm done preaching. I didn't even know I had a license for that, right? But I'm very excited because my guest tonight is somebody I hold dear. She is, I'm going to go with Leitreanna Brown. She is one of the most gifted psychics I've ever met in all of my life. I know a lot of psychics. I think that she is a great teacher. When we first met, I was surprised that she knew what I was. Nobody outside of my family really knew what I was. And there was never a chance to keep my light under a bushel with her. And she brought it out. We investigated together when we were at SLOSS to start with. And then she had an investigation they had come over from the Carolinas to do. And she was like, well, you're coming, whatever. So I did. And this is somebody who really affected my life personally. She and her family were featured on the show, The Ghost of My Child, I believe is the name of it, where her son had a past life that he remembered and shared with his family. They're a military family. They're brilliant people. And Lee has a new show coming out on Discovery Canada, and it's called Repossessed, and she's going to tell us all about that. She can tell us about the 4 books that she has written with her wonderful husband. And there's so much. Let's just bring her on. Lee Brown, hi there.
Hey, and this is Ginger. She says hello to everybody.
Hello, Ginger.
She had surgery yesterday, so she's wanting to
Oh,
be held. So
yeah,
thank you for having me on. And it's been so long since we've been able to talk. It really is nice to be able to spend some time with you.
I think so too. I missed you.
I've missed you too. Yeah, I've
So,
always, I knew right away your abilities because I could just feel them off of you. And I was like, oh, this is a secret? This is supposed to be a secret? It's
well,
not a
it's not supposed to be.
secret.
It's not supposed to be a secret, but nobody. My grandma knew,
Uh-huh.
obviously.
Yeah.
Um, but as far as, well, in my adolescence, I was so busy surviving. I
Mhm.
had, a bad family situation, and so it came out as anger, right?
Mhm.
With like lashings and stuff. Not lashing people, but the energy lash. So it took a while for me to get to where I felt safe. Obviously, that's a big deal to make you be good with what you do.
That's
But
right.
But when some people did recognize it. Nobody knew exactly what it was, right? I can bring peace to people, I can heal people, I can do whatever. And nobody but you really knew the full spectrum. So I am forever grateful that you made me comfortable and included me with your family. And,
Absolutely.
you know,
We had a great time with you.
well, what I found interesting was that all of y'all had different energy. Yours is warm, your daughter's is not.
Right. Hers is cool.
It is very cool. It's cold. So,
Yes, it is. It's very cold, like water.
yes.
Mhm.
And like over rocks, flowing, staying.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a great that's a great way to describe that. But it was so much fun. And that bond was so great when I actually had an attachment from an idiot that was doing Reiki cleaning and just didn't know how. So he's just throwing stuff out into the air. And I got damaged by that.
Yes,
And
you
I
did.
called you and I'm like, what is this?
Mhm.
What just
Mhm.
happened to me? I knew what it was, I didn't know what to do about it.
Mhm.
And you talked me through that, and then you were blown away that it went away so
Yeah.
so swiftly. But you're a good coach.
Yes, it did. It went away, and when it was gone, it was taken care of. It made me
Yeah.
I was so relieved. I was so relieved.
I did exactly what you told me to do.
Good.
I didn't see if I didn't see any reason not to follow you exactly. And you've done other things over time to shield and protect me.
Mhm.
And I'll never forget your voice when I called you. And I'm like, there is something big and black flying around my backyard. What the hell
Oops.
is this?
Sorry, that's me. I
It's
said
like,
something to
oh, that's
you.
my Thunderbird. I just sent it to look in on you. And I'm
Mhm.
like, a little heads up, a big scary black thing flying around my backyard.
It has big shadows.
It does make big shadows. And I was just like,
What
am
is
I in
this?
danger here? Oh my gosh, what is this? Because it's kind of like what I envisioned pterodactyl size, right?
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
right.
and I was just like,
Very much like a pterodactyl
it
too.
was like, holy crap. I don't even know what to do right now. So that was a quick phone call that I was so glad you picked up. I'm gonna have to say hi to people. We've got Psychic Randy Mabry, we've got Tom McNicholas, we got Lori Dorsey, Gwen Johns. I mean,
Hey, Gwen. Hey, Randy.
yeah.
Hey, everybody.
So this is going to be a good time. And I was just talking with Blaine Rohan on Facebook because I had to change it, and so he saw, I guess, where I posted about you, and he was like, so he sent me a friend request. I'm like, hey, dude. So, but and I'm appreciative too of Blaine because he's how we met.
He is how we met.
So
Sloth Furnace and Blaine Rohan.
yes. And we had the best time at Sloss. That's one of my very favorite places still to investigate. So,
My dog is high. She's had surgery. Yesterday, she had surgery, and I gave her one of her pain pills for the evening. And she's just so loving. She's gushing. She keeps kissing me. So
that happens
kind
to a
of
lot of
hold
females
her.
when they get.
You're not right back. You.
Oh my gosh, look at how precious her face is. She
She's
looks a lot
something.
like my dog Max, who was a Catahoula leopard dog.
Um, she's a Sooner, and she came from the pound,
Yeah,
but she
Max
is a
did too.
service dog. She is a good service dog.
I'm so glad. Well, she's
Mhm.
absolutely precious. Of
Only
course,
thing you see is her little ears
I
sticking.
know every so often I see just the one floating around there, and then when you held
Mm.
her up, I'm like, oh, she looks like Max.
She's a
So,
sweetheart.
well,
Well, I'm so glad to be here and be able to spend time with you. It's fun. It's fun just to relax and talk to an old friend that hasn't changed. Actually, prettier than you've ever been.
oh my gosh. Now,
Fantastic. You do. You look
thank you.
fantastic.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Well, we are very similar because you
Oh,
glow from the love and the happiness that you have too. And that's what makes things look better than than without it.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
because
And what you said at the beginning of the show, I just wanted to say I've been saying something similar. Um, because where you see darkness, you just have to be strong enough to be the light. So that is
yeah,
my hashtag, be the light.
it's a good one.
Yeah, everybody just if you think about it, just hashtag be the light. And I know you're in the same realm of thinking that
Yes.
we are.
And speak of Blaine, and we just conjured him up. Hi,
Hey Blaine.
Blaine.
Hey Blaine.
So, you know, I really think it's important because we're light workers
Yes,
as
we
well
are.
as energy workers, just regular energy workers.
Mhm.
And if you're, you see so many people that go around, oh, well, I'm a light worker. I do this. And I'm like, then do it.
Mhm.
If there was ever a time, and political affiliation aside, this is a humanity thing, because there's so much angst and so much anger. I mean, it's so bad. And that's what our job is, I feel.
Oh,
Well,
that
look at
looks
you
better,
lightened
doesn't
up.
it?
It works for me. Thank you.
Thank you,
That was
Matt.
damn Matt. Hi, Matt.
Kat says, "Hey, Matt. Hey, Kat."
So, one of the things that really and truly you also helped me realize that,
Okay.
hey, how are you? Look at me leaning like I can affect that.
Be the light.
Be the
Light
light.
bright. That's right. Light bright.
Absolutely. But you're very good at that too. And you can affect things. I'm better at it than I was, but it's becoming effortless, but it's been effortless for you forever. And oh, hi, peeking out. She
Uh-huh,
is
she
high.
is. She is.
So you
Well,
grew up with this being taught to you, knowing this. How did that happen? Did you just come out and your family's like, oh, look, she has it?
I would spend the night with my grandmother, and she would tell me, well, it started out, we would just watch certain shows together. She loved her murder mysteries, especially the British ones.
Oh,
So we
yes.
would watch them and have ice cream, and we would do our nails. And she has a big bathtub. We'd take, bubbling baths, things like that. And,
Yeah.
and then as I got older, she would notice that I would see things or know things, and the way that I would respond to things. And
Hmm.
she would shake her head kind of, like she knew
Yeah.
something. And my mom would always look at my grandma, and they would shake in heads, and I remember thinking, am I missing something? And why do you always do that? And she said, well, you'll know when you get older. And I finally said, somebody's going to have to tell me. So my grandmother sat me down, and Mom and Jenny had dinner. We were all over here. And haven't told this story maybe ever, but we had foot-long hot dogs, and we were sitting at the haunted dinner table that my grandmother purchased, which I still have. And we had the Ouija board on it. And now you have to remember, Mama Jenny died when she was 98, and that was 18 months ago. So this was part of her era.
Hmm.
Okay. And we could make it fly. It would, I mean, just fly. I mean, sometimes we had to have two people watching, one, like for safety purposes, and the other one to get all of the letters down,
Right.
because it would go so fast and boom, boom, boom. And whenever you're moving like that, in circular motion, it's real easy not to see the letter. So the
Hmm.
person would have to stand up and watch what letter it was. And she and I ended up just doing it several times, and it was faster than ever. And so my grandmother sat me down. Mom was in there. I don't know. I think Dad had taken his car home or something. Anyway, she said, well, I just want you to know there's going to be a time. when you're likely to see something that other people can't see. It's probably going to be, an entity. It could be a dark shadow. And I said, well, I've already seen those. She said, yes, I'm aware because they've been waking you up and you're afraid. And that concerns me. I don't want you to ever be afraid. And so she started teaching me immediately how to discern the negative
Mm-hmm.
spirits or positive spirits and how to test the spirit and things like that. And then it went on further to she told me that I would probably see my angel first because that's what she had been praying for me to see my angel and what to do, how to behave. That, with human eyes, I'm not going to be able to see the entity on its own as it looks
Mm-hmm.
because there's no way that human eyes could stand that. And, the majority of people that have seen angels have actually seen them with their spiritual eyes.
Yeah.
And so she, tried to explain some things to me about that. So when it happened, which just by chance, I mean, she was telling me that in the summer, and this was late summer because we had gone shopping for school clothes. And then by fall, the first rain, and I had gotten sick, I saw my angel the first time. And so, she walked me into it just like maybe going through puberty, talking to a young female about
Mm-hmm.
what your body's going to go through and,
That
that
had
kind
to
of
be
thing.
so helpful.
Mhm.
Nobody did that.
Yeah.
I mean,
But it made me think, oh my gosh, I'm going to let them down. I'm not going to be able to have the same gifts, but then she
you,
said, she said, you've got to get your mind right. And I don't know that I've ever told anybody this either. Um, you have to have your mind right. Um, she would tell me that why, she would say, why would spirits want to come to you? How do you process them differently than other people? Do you think it's because you can see them and it's an ability to you that you have, or do you think that it's because you understand something other people don't? I said that it was that because and I look different. I've got long hair and I'm tall and olive complexion and living in a time period in the South where, it wasn't long after segregation. A lot of people really didn't know about me. They didn't
right.
understand. And and I always knew I was different, just like you. That's how I was able to clue in so quickly. But she said, well, if you want them to come to you, then you need to let them know why. What do you want? Because if you are if something is happening to you and it's not something that you asked for and it's bringing itself, to your attention, then it could be something very negative. And you don't want that. You don't want
Because it would be
anything.
drawn to the light anyway.
It would be, she said, at one point, you're going to be a moth to a flame
Mm-hmm.
and everything will be attracted to you. And you need to know at that time why it's so important to be able to test these spirits to know. And eventually you'll be able to feel right away and it's going to be instantaneous. And I said, well, okay. And so I said, I know what it's like not to have somebody to talk to and so for somebody not to know what to say. I know what it's like to feel different. And I don't know that you were able to say all the words you wanted to say in life as
Right.
a kid, And I want you to know that I'm not going to be afraid because I'm not supposed to be afraid. If you're nice, then I'm not going to be afraid of you. I'll be there for you. And if you're negative, then, I'm going to tell my mom, Jenny, and my mom, and, you're going to have a very bad night, but I'm not going to be afraid of you. And so that's right when, Man in Blue is what I called him,
Mm-hmm.
started coming to me. And my mom it was within the last year of her life that mom told me she had a man in blue. And I never knew that. But she was having heart attacks as a juvenile. And the man in blue was actually helping her through her problems with her health. And for me, the man in blue was I was having memories of a past life and they were pretty scary. And so he was there for me when I would wake up from that. Elijah wasn't the only one that had, our entire family has
Yeah.
past life memories.
Yeah.
And as we come together as a group, as a family,
Hmm.
the
Well,
we all come back together
yes.
this time. I don't know before. Thank you, Sean. External ex Wolfpack Paranormal. That's Sean Ellis. Thank you for
Hi,
sharing
Sean.
it out. Please get the word out. This
Yes.
this is my dear friend Kat Hobson. So, but back to what I was saying, I had to make up my mind. Why am I doing this? And little did I know that was setting the intention. Okay, that at that moment I was a light worker,
Hmm.
and that's where the difference is made. If I'm there to be there for spirits, and whether they've lived or never been incarnate, but they're still a peaceful sort, and they need love, then I'm going to give it to them. Just hold still and I'll give it to you, even if you're ugly, because some of them come to you like you look
Yes.
when they died, and I have to let them
That
know you don't
I
have to
had
do
such a
that.
struggle with that.
I
And
know.
I didn't realize it until I've been doing this for I've been doing it for 10 years now. I guess I had been doing shows for a couple of years, and the nightmares that I would have when I was little, I'll tell you later about when I found out about my mom. But because nobody talked about it except my grandma to me.
I'm
But
glad you have grandma.
well, me too. I mean, she saved me from a lot more than confusion over time. But when I started seeing people, I didn't know that they were real. I mean, I didn't know that it wasn't a nightmare. And nobody was talking to me about this. And then my parents got divorced. I had a horrible stepfather. And so my mother was otherwise occupied. So she wasn't helping. And I'm
Don't you
going through
love it?
puberty.
Oh
And
God. And see, when
and
that
that was,
happens,
yes,
whoo, just a
I
woo.
was wide. I mean, I was wide ass open. I mean, I was like,
Yes, ma'am.
and I was angry.
I'm turning red because I know
Right.
the
So
the hormones that are there amplifies everything, and there's
everything
personality traits that are coming out you didn't know you had, and
and
now you've
and
got all this
abilities
energy. Yes, the abilities.
and I'm a beacon. I'm just a beacon. And so there's all this stuff. I wish that we had been friends then
I do
because
too.
I would have been saved.
Oh, we'd have had so
But
much fun.
we would have gotten in so much trouble.
Yeah,
But
that's
we would have
true.
still had fun. We would have had fun with that. But yeah, but it was so bizarre because the hormones do affect. Because when I started going through menopause, the same thing was happening.
Yeah.
I mean, but I was a lot meaner then. So it was not, I was like, get away from me.
Get away from me.
Yeah, this is not your time. But my husband got a lot of that too. But it was so funny because you were
Sorry,
so fortunate
it's
to
another one.
have, oh, please.
She's
I,
high. I'm
I
telling
love,
you.
it doesn't matter. I am a dog girl. And if I was there, I would be loving on her. And everybody ran from here when I got loud just a minute ago. So they're all in there
They
on
all ran.
the big safe bed. But which they have all to themselves. So, it's really you had such a blessed coming of age in this.
I did.
Such a great coming of age in this. And when did you first I know that this was lifelong, so I'm not really sure how to phrase this question right. But when you started realizing that you weren't just helping the dead, but you were helping the living also, because you are a very significant light worker, you're a very significant healer. And I don't know if everybody knows that you heal, but you do. And there's so much that you just I mean, all of this stuff started breaking open for you.
It
And
did.
then
Everything started coming open at once. And but here I had another. another advantage. Okay, we're going to do all right with this now. You're going to hold still. There we go. Um, so I also was with my father, who was doing work at Ross Allen's Reptile Institute in Silver Springs, Florida.
Get out
And
of town. I know that place
you
or
know
knew
the
that
place,
place.
really?
I do.
My
Yeah.
dad, he was a speaker and lecturer there. And as you might remember, the Seminole
Hmm.
tribe was connected to the
Yeah.
facility. And so I ended up going with a lot of children, and the tribe members watched over me when dad and mom were either filming or, whatever it was they were doing, because dad was there for work. And, I explained to them as they were teaching me about animals and being able to read animals or to at least feel what they're feeling. I didn't realize
Mhm.
that they were teaching me how to be empathic.
Right.
But they were also teaching me about their language and how humans are the only animals on the planet that don't follow their instinct. And so, as they were teaching me those things, I was explaining to them about things that I had seen at home or things that I had seen, going down the road, or if I was at a school with my dad lecturing, things that I'd seen at the school, people that were in spirit connected to children that I knew were probably being abused, or there was a family member that, had a message, and, how do I go about this? So
Mhm.
they were explaining to me that's actually called being a shaman.
Mhm.
And that they said that I had been chosen. Well, I don't know that I was chosen. I was certainly told if I wanted to do this that I would have to make the choice and
Mhm.
how I would set my intention, and therefore it became so. So therefore, I guess I received more training. I was told how to harness my energy, to invoke energy from the earth, um, about healing. And lots of times people have made themselves sick, and how to help them understand that their stinking thinking is what's making them sick.
Right.
So that's how that
Yeah.
came out. It was so important to learn that before going into puberty too,
Well,
because
yes,
otherwise that's chaos magic flying.
it was chaos magic flying. It's, and well, I mean, right? Because there's
Uh-huh.
all this stuff happening around. I mean, that was when Carrie came out. Okay. So I'm like,
Whoops.
oh my God, I can't be around anybody.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
so, because when I get, when I would, and kind of with menopause too, but when I would get mad before I learned to control, stuff happens. I
Mhm.
mean, it was just like, and my grandma, my hero, the person that I never doubted loved me and that I never doubted how much I loved her, she did something, and I don't even remember what it was, but I turned around and I looked at her, and she was like, okay. No, she was like, don't look at me with hate in your eyes. I said, I don't have hate in my eyes. I don't have anything but love for you. She was like, really?
Might want to tell
Well,
that to your eyeballs because
pretty
you
mad right
drunk.
now, aren't you, girl? So, but that was during that period.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
so the difference between our coming of age with this is fascinating to me. And hi, Ben.
Hey, Ben.
So,
Can't wait to see him at the Deep South Parrot Comic Con.
ah,
Yeah, that's going to
when
be
is that?
fun. Well, it's going to be in, hold on, I think it's August. Let me get my act together here. It's deepsouthparacomicon.com.
You want to put that in chat or
Okay.
you want me to? Here's my thing.
Yeah, I'll grab it.
Okay,
It's
thanks.
72 days, 12 hours, 27 minutes, and
I
30
love that you have
seconds
that.
away.
I
Yeah.
love that you have that. So,
I love to count it down. So it's going to be fantastic. It's August the 9th and 10th. So those of you that are watching, I'm going to be there. Thank you, Ben. He gave me some
thank
quick
you.
info. Yeah,
And now
it's
blame
in
pops
August.
in.
It's in August. Tickets are on
Now
sale now.
everybody's popping in with it. Thank you, everybody. That was
So
so
it's going to be a
needed.
lot of fun. Yeah, we needed it.
Where is it?
It's in Ozark, Alabama. And
Well, then I
we're
guess I'll be
going,
there.
yes, please come.
So,
We're going to have horror special aficionados, people that were the first Jason, and
right.
the first, let's see, it's Jason, there's, they've got a whole bunch of people. Let's see. We've got the inner demon crusher, Lilia Bogovia, and she is like a cosplay person, but she teaches these different routines that help people harness inner anxiety and anger, that type of thing. We've got Austin Light, who's the creator of American Demon Comic. And of course, Ben Bracken will be there with the Alabama Ghost Busters and the Dothan, it's the Dothan chapter. Lane
Okay.
will be there. He's been on several different TV shows as he was in Repossessed on the
Hmm.
show that was released on. It was originally released in Canada on the History Channel,
Hmm.
and then it was released on Hulu, and it's still there. Apple TV and Disney Plus. It's basically like a family reunion. Tony Moran, the first Michael Myers, is who is going to be that guy. The horror folks, and there's going to be a horror house and kids love it. So Tony
They
Moran,
do.
first Michael Myers, then there's Brett Wagner, who was Leatherface. He will be there, and let's see, I'm there in the paranormal side of things. Richard and Colleen Johnson from Ethereal, there it is, Voice Paranormal, and they
Right.
make equipment, and they're going to be doing a workshop on paranormal equipment. Michael and Destiny Fox are paranormal investigators, and they were on Repossessed. We did an episode with them on my show, and they are also hosts of Darker Side of the Moon podcast. And let's see, my husband is going to be there and speaking. My husband and I are, and Gwen Johns, who's the producer of All Access Network Television, we will be there teaching workshops. We're doing Parapsychology 101. Let's see, um, Light Workers Unite, Dream Interpretation, Science of the Supernatural, and there's a couple others. I think it's going to be very interesting, if I say so myself.
It sounds like a good
Yes.
time.
Ken Gerhardt, who's a cryptozoologist from
Hmm.
Monster Quest, America Unearthed, Ancient Aliens, I remember most on that. He will be there. Also, Keith Age, the rock and roll ghost hunter.
I love Keith Age. I haven't seen
Yes.
him in an age.
He's
Oh
doing
my
really
God.
well.
I'm glad.
He went through a really bad patch
Yes.
with his health, but he's doing really well now. And
He had an investigation at a bowling alley in
what?
Tennessee. Yes, he had
Oh,
an
wow.
investigation at a bowling alley in Tennessee, and somehow I got invited to come to it. And so it was the first time we met.
Okay.
And so I can't remember who he had with him, but at any rate, I'm doing my investigation and going, and they had these women, I'm not going to name names, who were psychics.
Okay.
And so
Was that
we
at
were,
Maple Hall? No, that's Knoxville. That's not right.
no, I don't think it was not. Well, I don't know because it was on like central Tennessee because it
Okay.
wasn't much of a drive for me. But it was so funny because I'm sitting there and I'm just doing my stuff and I've got my equipment out to, because I always validate. And so I walked by him and he just kind of looked over at me and he was like, "You're really good at this."
Oh,
And I'm like, "Well, thanks." you know, I didn't know him from Eve, right? So, and he didn't know me from, I mean, I didn't know from Adam. He didn't know me from Eve, but it turned out to be a really nice mutual respect thing because I went up to his Paracon up in Kentucky
hmm.
and just had a blast. I went a couple of times, just loved it. And so there's that. But
I do have some tickets to give away to that Paracon.
oh,
So
cool.
if you want to, just mention, like, direct
Well,
message me,
sure.
anybody
Yeah.
that's interested, we're going to put a name in a hat and then we'll start pulling and letting people know.
Okay. So if you want a ticket to go to the Deep South Paracon, put your name with a
Yeah, just DM me and say,
yeah,
saw you on Cat's show,
yeah.
and
So
we'll put that in there. That'll be awesome.
well, I think that's really generous of you. So thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Now,
But
the show is still on Hulu, Apple TV, and Disney Plus if you want to see it.
I
There's
want to
8
see it.
episodes.
I'm
Yeah,
going to
it's
be watching all of the episodes. So
well, I'll have my haunted object, I can't talk, haunted object lab at the Deep South Paracomicon.
cool.
And people are able to go through it, and I want to know. Uh, she's a mess tonight. I'm sorry. She
Please
wants
don't
to see
apologize. She's
everything.
lovely.
So, we're going to have our objects there, and there's a QR code that you can follow, go through, and just let me know how you're feeling as you go through it, because I'll be sharing the data from that. Yeah, it's been getting bigger and bigger every year.
Well, I have, you probably don't know, I broke my knee several years ago. So I have to limit what I can go and do. And I've been going out of the country and investigating out of the country. And I'm
Ooh,
just like, oh, girl, it is so cool. But but this is about you. This is not about me. So, but it's so much fun to be around your peers, right? I mean, I can't tell you the last time I did a real paracon because I've been doing UFO conferences and stuff like that because of fate. And so this will be fun. This will be like old home week.
yes, it
It
will.
really will. I'm excited.
We're
But
going to have a great time. And there's a little after party at the benchmark. That'll be fun. So we can all sit down and talk. And
yeah,
yeah,
well, count me
we
in.
don't have any haunted locations yet, but I was thinking about looking around to see if I found one, but we'll see.
There has to be something there. Ozark is not, it's not big,
Mm.
but there's a lot of history around
I've
there.
got a space that might be the right place.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get the timing in. Yeah, that'd be fun. It'd be great fun.
I would love to investigate with you again just to hang out and do it. And hi, Linda. So, I think that it's going to be, I think it's going to be so interesting to be around all these people and see the interactions and be able to catch up and stuff. I think that I think that one of my favorite things about you, there's a lot of them, but we can go through
Well,
these all
thank
night, right?
you.
But I do like because you bring people together.
I try
One of
so
the things
hard.
that the light energy does is that you can bring comfort, you can bring attention to topics, you can bring healing vibes to so many things, and it's just one of the best things about you. And you've
Thank you.
had a lot of media opportunities presented
Yeah,
to you over the years, and I think that that is because you're very good at bringing people together, and you're also very good at opening people to their gifts. I'm a case in point. I knew I had them. I had just tried so hard to suppress them, and you recognized them and helped me to understand that it wasn't something that I wouldn't be able to control really.
that's right. A lot of people say, "Oh, I've suppressed it." I hear that so much,
Hmm.
and that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book. So you think your kid is psychic,
Hmm.
because there's a lot of people, a lot of parents that say, "Wait a minute, I think my child is psychic." They can only notice that because they once saw it in themselves.
Hmm.
And they want to be the parent that they would have wanted to have, for them. behind them. And so I'm working on, I've actually just submitted revision 2, and it was way past time. And that's great, April.
She
That
is
is
Denise.
great.
She is really brilliant. She is she's a really great human.
That's
And she's
awesome.
Denise Pridmore's cousin. And
Oh, okay.
she is she's pretty special, honest to goodness.
Linda Judd took a class with me, and she's very gifted. She's actually in chat right now, and
I
Gwen
saw her.
is in chat. She's like I was telling you, the producer of All Access Network, and she's got some wonderful gifts. But
You know,
people
I
are so
think,
used to being guarded. I think that lends to people being having that paradrama that we all so hate, and it's so obvious. And
yeah,
it's just one of those things where I think that it's up to those of us that are comfortable with the gifts that we have, and who we are and what we mean, what
hmm
we want to, how we want to be perceived in this life. How, what is it that I'm supposed to do while I'm here? And
yeah,
I think those of us, like you said at the beginning of the show, very eloquently, you know, if you've got a gift, it's not a gift until you give it to someone.
yeah. And, you know, it's easy to just hide it under that bushel
Mm-hmm.
because you're different. Like I said, when my stuff started, Carrie had just come out. And so I'm tripping out, right? And so are the people around me. Seriously. Because, I was in a difficult situation as an adolescent. I was my friends' parents were who were basically saving me
Yeah,
and protecting me. And
I understand.
well, sure. I mean, it's what happens sometimes. But the funny thing, and you're going to love this because if I'm lying, I'm dying. I did not know. Okay. My mother had Alzheimer's at the end of her life, and she recently passed away a year or so ago. And I went and picked her up, and we went to lunch. We never really healed that relationship until the end of her time, but we did,
Oh,
so that was nice.
oh, that's a
But the
gift.
it was, but I took her to lunch, and she looked at me, and she was like, "Well, tell me about your radio shows again." And I said, "Well, I do fake magazine radio and I do paranormal experienced, and I've done that one for longer." And she's like, "Don't you hate it when they line up along your bed and they won't shut up?" And I'm like,
Are you
"I don't
serious?
have that happen, but tell me more." Right? I'm like, so we're sitting there talking, and this was when she was a child. She said, and I would get fed up with them and I would just tell them, "I'm little, I have to go to sleep. You need to go talk to my mom." And so she would send them to my grandma. So obviously my grandma did it too. So I'm sitting there going, this would have been helpful.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
this would have been helpful.
Mama
So
Jenny would say, if they're bothering you anymore, Lee, just tell them to go see your grandma.
yeah.
And my dad, he would roll his eyes because he was more about animals and more tangible things. But he was a crypto guy. He went on Bigfoot hunts and things
Oh, I
like
love
that.
cryptids.
But yeah, that's exactly
So
what go talk to your grandma. And she'd laugh going out the door. And she'd look back at me and say, you tell him, you tell him. That's okay.
so
That's
nobody
so
told me I
crazy.
could do that.
I know, you got
Because
robbed.
nobody was talking. And it was just like, oh Lord, this is and I didn't know how much of it I could run with because of her condition. I didn't want to trip her out.
Hmm.
But so obviously she knew
She did know.
that I had that. And just think how much help it would have been, right?
That would have
And
been so
Linda, it was
nice.
such a shock because when I was having stuff, Nobody except my grandma is even acknowledging that there's anything happening with me. And meanwhile, I'm getting so angry because of my stepfather, who was very abusive. And I'm just like, if I could just do the bewitched thing. Well, I could, I just didn't
That's
twitch
right.
I couldn't
That's
twitch my
exactly
nose,
right.
but that energy was just like a wall that you could throw up on somebody. And
I know what you mean. I got really angry at someone and set the pampas grass on fire in the yard.
mhm, yeah, right. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is just like that movie. You know, I'm like, what kind of demon am I? But it was so funny in retrospect when I started understanding, and I didn't understand because anybody taught me. I started reading, and
That helps so much. And that's another reason why I wrote the books I did.
I know,
The first
and
one
they're
is
so
called
helpful.
Thank you. I hope that they're helping people. The first one, which might interest you, is called Family Spirit: The
Hmm.
Origins of Five Generations of the Supernatural. And it's about my family dynamics
Hmm.
on both sides of the family and how things led to this. And interestingly, I have been discovering more and more about science and the supernatural.
Hmm.
And a lot of people don't know it. Actually, people do know of this, but they don't share it. There's actually a study that's it's called epigenetics. Are you
Hmm.
familiar with
I
that?
am.
Okay. So we have been able to prove that our ancestors pass information to us through DNA. Mice have been able to find their way through mazes and things like that when they had no way of knowing otherwise. Where hide, turn left, turn right, and you're at the feeding bowl.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got some proof already that we didn't have before. And so my second book, Family Spirit,
Hmm.
Crypts and A Journey with Crypts and Cryptids, is coming out in January.
Well, I'm ready to see that.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
You
Right.
know,
April is saying she knows all about epigenetics, having kids with
yes,
autism.
yes, and she is. I mean, she's just a brilliant mom.
I
She
bet she is.
she is. She has several, and she is fighting for every one of them and doing a good job of it.
Good.
So, but the whole thing. That train just pulled right out of the station. But
Don't you hate it?
I do hate it. But it's really interesting because when when I met you, I I was not aware that all of you were gifted. I could feel most of it, right? But then I'm just sitting there and everything about me, and I'm like, very few people can read me. This is interesting. And I mean, it was so funny. But and you just keep on, and then you're like, oh well, she's coming with us tonight. And I'm like,
I
okay.
know. It's like, yes, you are.
And it was so much fun. But you know, the I would have liked to have had access to those books when we were going, yeah, before we were going to be sitting down and having conversations.
I need to send them to you, and
Well, I'll
we'll
just
do
get
it.
them. I
We'll
mean,
rewind. Make sure it's the revision too, because
I
there's a
will.
lot more to it.
Yeah.
So Gwen Johns and Blaine Rohan, my mother, who's passed now, but before she passed, my husband, all of us collaborated together about Psychic Kids because we were coming from different perspectives and
Hmm.
different situations. And I
Right.
really feel like that book, um, I think it's really going to help a lot of children and a lot of parents. So
Well,
that might be one that you'll like to look at. Also, I did Your Psychic Connection.
hmm,
And I put a lot more into that with the revision too. And it's about developing your psychic gifts. Linda, that might be something you're interested in, and you too, April, or those of you watching. It's basically explaining the types of psychic abilities and then abilities, not just that you're born with, but ones that you can develop
Right.
and through experience and how to train yourself. It's just like practicing dance or martial
Hmm.
arts or anything else.
Well,
So,
if you're going to be good at something, then you need to be willing to do the work to get there.
yes,
And
that's
that's no
right.
matter what you choose to do.
And when I was filming, I had to do a lot of self meditation and guidance and keeping within that realm, even when I was asleep. So when I woke up, I could pick up where I left off because it's not something you can do bam, 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 bam without great effort. So Blaine's saying he didn't have the support growing up to help with his
Yeah.
gifts. So he really felt like this was coming full circle for him
I'm
because
sure.
his
Yeah.
way of being able to give back. And, you know, Gwen said the same thing, very similar.
Hmm.
She was actually, her situation, Blaine's was not so great. Gwen's was worse because she was not validated at all. In fact, she was told, "You're just making this up. You're just doing
Mm,
this out of spite," you know. And so she crammed it in the closet and locked the door, you
yeah.
know. And so this was a full 360 for her too. Yeah. So there might be some people that, even if you're an adult and you don't have kids or grandkids, this might be something that will help you realize
Yourself.
yourself. Yes. Between that one and your psychic connection,
Hmm.
going through these exercises and there's journals in the book, and you could just go over it again and again, like I mean, you know, like doing a keto diet, you know, you got to
Yeah.
record your calories and stuff, you know, you do
Yeah.
this reading and what did it give you? How did it make you feel? So I tried to make these more interactive type books and certainly not a lot about me. I did all of that with Family Spirit because I wanted to record everything.
Hmm.
I had my grandmother.
Well, absolutely. And,
Yeah.
I think that's what makes that so special
Mm,
because it truly is your family's spirit. And
yeah.
I think that's a big deal. Blaine is another one. Um, when I first met him, it was at a team investigation at a house that was um, in, by a lake that had been just everything was plowed up under graveyards, churches, everything. And then the lake filled in. And he didn't know me from Eve, and I didn't know him from Adam. And so he bounces out of the room that he was in, looks at me, our first time to meet each other, and he was like, "Wow, you're as strong as I am, or maybe more." And I'm like,
Oh,
I'm like, "Hi, I'm Kat," and you are. It was so
when he
funny because
introduced me to you before I met you, he was like, "You've got to meet Kat. She's as strong as we are. And she's really
did he
sweet."
really?
And
That's funny.
yeah, he's like, "She's really sweet. You guys gonna get along great." And then I got in the car with you, and off we went. You know,
We
everybody
were
was,
gone.
we were doing our little caravan to the investigation. Then I left my purse in the car, and that was so I wouldn't, I didn't want to leave just yet.
Yeah.
Gwen said,
So
"That's you, Blaine." That's right. He was
it
so
is Blaine. But it was so funny because I'm very reserved when I meet people in that environment, right? Because
nice.
I have investigated with people that should not have been investigating. So and this home involved a child. And so it was so funny because he was looking for this and I'm looking for technical stuff, right? Where's the HVAC unit? Where's this stuff? And so he just bounces out of the room. And I'm like, hi. And it was such an energy together. It was really
Mhm.
fun. And so that was Blaine, wasn't that a long night because I was getting cross eyed and then they kept talking about a ball, and you know, we found like there was a packaged Nerf ball in the kids'
Oh,
room, and so we're getting ready to leave, and the dad comes running out of the house and says, "Did you bring this?" And we're like, "What?" Because Kim kept saying that she saw an egg, right? And so I'm like,
oh, Kim
Johnston,
Johnston.
yeah,
Oh, I love her too. She's got a wonderful energy.
she does. But
Mhm.
it was so funny because they had left me, right? And so it's just me, and this dad's coming out of the house, and he's got this, and he's pissed off because he thinks that we planted this there,
Uh-oh.
right? And I'm like,
Oh,
we
no.
didn't bring anything. What are you talking about? He was like, this is the ball that I put in the dumpster in the trash bin and watched them drive off down the road with it. And then it was back in my house 2 days later.
Yeah, Blaine
And
just
I,
posted they
yeah.
would throw it away and it kept coming back.
And so then
Oh
there
my
I am with
God.
it, right? And I don't know what the heck to do with this. And I'm just like, and he won't take it back, right? He's like, you're taking this with you. I know y'all brought this. I said, we did not. I promise you we did not. And so, you know, I'm like, and nobody will answer the phone, right? Kim, everybody rode with Kim. I go a different direction. So I was in my own car, and I'm trying to get in touch with them, and nobody's answering the phone. And I'm like, pick up the phone. And so I just give up. I start sending it out to Kim and sending it out to Blaine. And somebody better answer that damn phone. Well, Blaine is like, well, you're just going to have to bind it, and you're going to have to put it in water. And I'm like, I don't know how to do a binding. I've never done a binding. This really needs to work, right? So, so he's telling me I get to where I can, and I'm just like, dear God. So, and he tells me I have to throw it in flowing water. I'm not going back to the lake. I'm
He
almost done.
says you called and I said throw it in the
But I
water.
had to bind it first, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
and I'm very paranoid because I don't litter. I grew up with the crying Indian. I was a crying
Me
Indian.
too.
I don't do it. So I'm just like, I can't throw this in water. That's littering.
That's
So,
literally.
well, it was. So there I am.
I can
And
see this with you. Bless your heart.
I'm in this,
Oh my
yeah, I'm in the
God.
car by myself. And I remember that I'm going to go, I can go over a bridge over one of the local rivers. And I'm like, bingo. So I go down, and I crossed it, and I came back, and I made sure that there was nobody around because I'm littering. And I do the binding on it, roll down the passenger window, and just toss it out and into the river. Roll the window up, fixing to hot foot it out of there. As I put the car in gear, there is a man walking in the center median. He
Oh
was not
shoot.
there. He was not there. Okay. There was
Oh,
nobody around me. I'm getting goosebumps. He was in
oh
a
my
red
God.
flannel, plaid flannel shirt with a hat pulled down over his face, looking down, walking toward, in the direction of me. And I'm just like, not just no.
Yeah,
We're getting the heck out of
not
here.
just no, but
Yeah.
bye-bye.
So, and I had to go past him though. So
Oh God.
I was like, holy crap. And because I knew it was whatever had been attached, I felt like it was whatever had been attached to that.
I'm
And it
sure.
was going back. It was going to have a hefty walk because that was like 45 minutes from there.
He's gonna get
But
wet too.
yeah.
He's gonna
So
get wet.
I was just like, how did he get off of that? Right? I must not have bound it right. Well, I did bind it right
You
because
did.
as far as I know, he didn't go back. But that was these, and that was the night I met Blaine Rohan. So,
Wow, what a
and
night. He
and he
said it was
like
a long night. He just said that it was
it
a
was
really
such a
long
long night, and we did like we were using the SB7 and getting a lot, And yeah, it's the first time I'd ever seen anybody use the channel with a, you know, and I did find out that because Blaine's contact is seven, and seven is almost universal doing SB7. And in my research, I learned that. And it was, well, Blaine, he must have not found his way back because he had to walk.
He got lost. He's still out swimming.
But that was the strange, but that really was. I mean, because I was so
Uh-oh, I
paranoid.
don't hear you. Is my
Uh-oh,
thing broken?
I'm not muted. So,
Nope. Can you guys hear her?
yes, Carl can hear me.
Okay.
Got me?
Think I, oh, I see. I leaned on my button and I turned it down. I'm rocking and laughing, you know.
Oh
Oh,
gosh.
Lord.
April says she can hear both of us. So there you
Good.
go.
Blaine
Can you hear
said
me?
Kim,
Well, you can hear me.
yeah, Kim said that it never did, the ball didn't come back, so
Well, it's because he was lost.
he got lost.
That's hilarious.
Oh, that's funny.
But
Oh my
you know,
gosh.
but Blaine is a trip to work with and investigate with. And
Yes.
we both have very big personalities. It's just really funny if we have a different plan with something. It was like, really? Really? And
Blaine said, yeah, you're
he's
lost.
still lost. Well, if you're gonna do it right, right?
That's
First
right.
time ever. Maybe I put a little bit of oomph into that.
He's coming along saying, damn it, she got my ball. Then he went after the ball and he couldn't find
Well,
his way back.
it
He's
was in a
all
fast
messed up.
flowing river,
Yes,
so he'd have
fast
to
flowing.
swim hard to catch it.
You know,
But
Linda Judd said something really sweet. I don't think you saw it. It is so sweet. I think she likes her Southern accent. She said, Kat, you and Lee can talk all you want. I love your voices and the flow of the words you string together are so wonderful. I think
thank
it's
you.
a Southern thing.
It is a
Thank you,
southern thing.
Linda.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
I think
But
Southern investigators do it best because we're very congenial and the voices and the
well,
way we go about it.
and we're slower. I think that I do agree with that because sometimes I can be brusque, and but people always think I'm being nice because of how I sound. And I'm like, by gosh, I'm really mad. Don't be acting like I'm. So I'm mad, damn it. But it's so funny because people just perceive it that way. And I think spirit perceives it that way too. And I was going to tell you, and I just remembered this because it's so fun. But speaking of family spirit, right? I was on Facebook. I had a message from this woman who said, I am your fourth cousin on the Duke side. And we have a lot of the same gifts. And I think it would be fun to get to know each other. And I'm like, do tell. And so we haven't gotten together yet. I think I scare her a little. And Kina, yeah, I'm talking to you. But it's so fun because she'll show me something that's happening in one of the other family members' houses or something. She sent me a thing on Facebook, and it was one of the most clear um, ghosts. I mean, it was a coat that they said was this person's house coat and came from the direction of the door that she would use and just came through the living room. And Kina sent me that, and I'm like, you know what that is? Why are you asking me? I mean, she does know, right? And
Yeah,
she's
she
like,
knows.
well, I thought that you wanted to see that. I said, I did want to see that, but just so you know that you know what that is. I mean, it's so obvious. And
Mhm.
people were like, oh, well, that's just a mist. I'm like, it looks like a mist because it's energy. It's energy moving through the room, but there's a house coat. and there's an obvious, you know. So I just thought that you would like that because that is
I do
my
like that.
first family member who has reached out and said, "I do what you do."
That's wonderful.
And so now I feel like I have my own kindred spirit, right?
You do.
And so,
Absolutely.
but she lives so far away. She lives down in South Alabama, way off the interstate. Because I go to South Alabama, but I don't get off of 65 much, right?
Right.
So, but I also learned that that part of Alabama is Bigfoot capital of the South. It's
Wow.
Evergreen, Alabama. There actually is a Bigfoot sitting at the little shopping center thing.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. So the things you didn't know until you had to get off the interstate. But
That's
it's fun.
cool.
Well, I am a big cryptid person as far as research goes. I am not a big cryptid person as far as going the woods alone goes. Because
Right.
there's other things besides cryptids that will bite you and make you sick. So
That's right.
I
Make
hate
you very
slithery
sick.
things. I'm
Yep.
not a
Mr. No Shoulders is in Alabama. Big
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Last time I was there, the eastern diamondback rattlesnake had
Oh,
crossed the road and was on the other side, but his tail hadn't crossed yet.
holy
And
smokes.
we went over him. Yeah,
Should have
that
hit
was
the brakes, it
crazy.
would have killed him.
Yeah.
But
I
I don't
I
do
told him
snakes.
throw it in reverse, and let's go back over him.
And put the brakes on when you go over them because
Uh-huh.
it busts them. I'm so
So
mean.
do
That's
you
the only thing
well,
I'm mean about.
well, when it comes to poisonous snakes, especially in a residential area, I
Yeah,
think they're 100% on getting rid of them. So there's a lot of cryptid legends in Alabama.
there are.
You ever heard of the Alabama white thing?
Oh
THANG.
my gosh. And that just kills me. That's what they call it.
The white
So
thing
the white thing.
out of Huntsville, Alabama.
Yep.
He's a white, kangarooish, head of a lion type Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. Then there's the Wolf Woman of Mobile.
Yeah, I wouldn't
I
want to
wish
run
I had
across
time
her.
to go to each. I'd love to go to each one of these, honestly.
Well, I've got a house.
That'd be
Just
fun.
saying. But we need to do that when it's not so 2000 degrees hot
Hmm.
because 2000 degrees plus humidity. Lori Dorsey in chat is my best friend, and she comes down here from Ohio. And the first time she came down and stayed with me in Gulf Shores, we went to Fort Morgan, and it was hotter than blue blazes, and she was smoking. And it was just I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
wow.
I was hot, right? I am hot.
Yeah. That
And
humidity and the heat together is
if
something
you're not
else.
used to it, it will eat your lunch. And it was eating hers. But it wasn't too bad because she's decided she's moving here. So it's all
Oh,
good.
yeah,
So
she reconciled it in her head there. So
yeah, worth it to have the beach. Which, by the way, that's my beach in the background
is
there.
it
Yeah.
okay?
So that's one of my pictures. But you know, I
Your beach.
yeah, that's in Gulf Shores, Alabama.
Okay, so it's south
And
side of your place.
yeah, it is. And that's heaven. That's a
It
really good
is.
picture of heaven right there.
It's beautiful with the sun beams. Oh, that's gorgeous.
Thank you. It used to be what I did. But I was a professional photographer and showed in some galleries and did a one woman showing and all that kind of stuff. So, hey, Resnick. I like that name.
He's a great guy too.
Where's he from?
Wisconsin. Am I right, Renz? I think it's Wisconsin. Well, pretty sure I'm right. I'm not. I
Well,
don't know.
welcome to you. Thank you for being here. So, I did not know, forgive me, I did not know that you were doing your own network
Yeah.
because I was so busy when I was trying to do WBHM DB, and I loved doing it. And then I was like, I would really like to, yeah, Muncie and my,
Come on in. Yeah, you've already got an invitation.
yeah,
We've got 15 different podcasters, some that are on here.
yeah.
Yep. So
Well,
Rez lives in Stockbridge, Muncie Indian Reservation in Bowler, Wisconsin.
the Muncie is,
So he's on the Rez.
yeah. So that's somewhere in my, Muncie is somewhere in my history. So
Okay.
I didn't know what it was or where it was. But, I think that, and thank you. We will talk about that. But
Yes.
I would be honored. But, I really think, or at least sharing through, I think that would be so cool because, there's so much drama when it comes to paranormal and I'm going there, okay, but
Yeah,
not with ill intent. But there's so much drama, and I found that it's just silliness.
it is.
We're all working toward a goal, or at least trying to gain knowledge and understanding or documentation of what we already know, and we're trying to bring information to people that have questions too. I mean, there's a reason that paranormal teams get to go out and investigate because
Yep.
people have questions about what they're doing. And it's such a gift to be able to have a voice to help people not be afraid, right? And you're very, very good at calming emotion when it comes to these things.
Thank you.
You're, well, I mean, I have nothing to do with it. It's all you. It's beautiful. I'm teasing, but it is beautiful and it's really special what you do. And you do it with other investigators. You lead from the front. You're, I've never once heard you say anything negative about anyone, which I
Good.
think is fantastic. It's what everybody needs. And I agree, Blaine. Paranormal drama is ridiculous
We should
because,
be helping each other. You're right.
yeah, I mean, when it comes to this, I get sometimes I get miffed when people are like, "Oh, well, there are no experts." Well, there are people. If I have an EVP I can't understand, I'm going to send it to, and it's not everybody. There's
Mhm.
people. If I have a case that involves something I'm uncomfortable with, I'm passing that because I'm not
Mhm.
going to be able to help if it's something that wigs me out.
Mhm.
I will not be focused. I won't be any help. And it would be like me trying to wrangle a snake. Not happening. I'm not going
Not
to do a good
happening.
job because I'll be running the other way. So, don't have any interest in fighting a demon. Not my color Kool-Aid, not my strength. But I'm jam up with human spirits. It's just a thing, right? But um, I think we should all support each other everywhere.
I agree.
You're very good at that too. So, but, and I also think that you should recognize what your strengths are and not try to tell people that you can do things that you're not interested in doing. And if people would be honest with themselves to do that too, then they wouldn't get burned out and have to walk away from the field.
I think a lot of
Because
people don't know how to include other people because they're so insecure with themselves.
there's
They're
that.
afraid of they're jockeying for their position and they don't want to give anybody else a chance. And that's a shame.
Well, it is a shame because, quite honestly, there's not that big a call for people to go on TV in the paranormal when you compare it to the number of paranormal investigators out there wanting that to happen. And a producer that I know used to laugh because he was like, you know, it's all the black shirt teams. you know, everybody that's a black shirt team wants a show, and
Hmm.
they present this unified body and trying to, you know, make themselves tougher and bigger and better. And that's not, that's done to death.
That's true. It is.
And, and, you know, I'm not putting that down because that's a big sell.
Trying to see what this rattling is behind me. I have a glass shelf,
Uh huh.
and this house is haunted. So I'm
I'm
just trying.
shocked.
But this house is haunted. And at nighttime, it gets really interesting really quickly. And I was trying to see if the ceiling fan was causing the rattle or if something was trying to get my attention, but it's the ceiling fan. So,
Well, I am I am here with two dogs and nothing's moving so far. But
I have,
oh, Linda says some of it is saving face too.
I agree. That's
But
true.
I do think pure unity can happen because
At least
when
for a temporary period of time, for an event or for a project or something like that, it doesn't have to last forever. But if
but
everybody understands their
it would
mission,
it would be nice if it could. I don't think it's a realistic thing either because there's a if you're going to be in entertainment, you have to have a level of ego that will allow you to do that.
right?
I mean, I know people that would be fantastic. They're the best investigators I've worked with. They are afraid of being on camera, which is a shame because they're brilliant. So it's something to watch. And then I have friends who are on television, both here and abroad, and I love it because I'm always like, "Oh, you're in my living room. Hey." You know. So I get to see you once every year or two, but hey. And so I really think, do we really want pure unity where everybody is on the same page and singing kumbaya? Or do we want people that are out there busting their butts trying to get the best evidence anyone's ever gotten because that's their goal? You know,
Yeah.
there's two sides of that, and it's really interesting to try to figure out what that should be. What do you
And
think?
every region is different too. I
That's
mean,
true.
Alabama, Florida, Georgia folks, the investigation there, everybody loves the evidence. They love the tech, and you get along well, I think,
I
for the
think
most
so.
part. For the most part, and there's others that just love just being together, whether it's
Yes.
in spirit or whether it's, you know, um, and they love the spirits they're talking to. They expect to have a good
Yes.
time with them. And and then in South Carolina, it gets to be it can be catty because there's these teams and that team, and these people are charging this amount of money to be on the team so that they have money to travel. But who gets the money and where did it go? And are we going here? I don't want to go there. And everybody wants to film, and blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
North Carolina Tennessee is almost not represented. It's as if they've
There's a reason.
just okay.
So
Um, but
that's,
Kentucky's fun.
yeah.
Kentucky's been real interesting. I filmed there with Brandon Elvis and the Stop with a Lori. They're the guys that Grant had on Ghost
Yeah.
Hunters when they came back, when Jason was doing Ghost Nation.
Hmm.
And then he bought the name from Grant, and now, they're doing their own thing. But yeah, these guys have got their own show. It's Haunted Discoveries. They're
Hmm.
fantastic. And they're releasing Family Spirits now. And
Cool beans.
the name of their show is Family Spirits, and it's about family members in spirit that had come to you to pass a message. So I was able to film with my mom. This was just before she died, and my husband. And so they actually dedicated the show to my mom.
That is
And
so sweet.
so, yes, it's so wonderful. And she wrote a book before she passed. It's called Haunted Countryside, and it's a children's book. And so it's about a
Of
brother
course,
and
your mom
sister.
wrote a haunted children's book. I love that.
Yeah, it's really fun. And I was in her room the other day and I found part two.
Oh my
And so,
gosh, how did you feel?
oh, I couldn't believe it. I thought, Mom, why did you hide it? Why didn't you give it to me? But it's going to be,
Was it finished?
yeah.
That's
So I'm
crazy.
really excited. I can't wait to release it. It's about a brother and sister that lived in the city and they've moved to the country. And what is it like, being in the country and how is life different? And they're thinking, oh, everything's going to scare me. The steam coming out of the horse's nose is scaring them. Oh, it's a ghost. But then when they actually have a ghostly experience, it's not so scary. It becomes more loving, more family. And so,
Sure.
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
We have a question for you from Tom
Okay.
McNicholas. Is there any difference between TV paranormal and YouTube paranormal?
Yes, big difference. There's a big difference. YouTube paranormal has a tendency to be more fast paced because the way that it's edited, the cuts are a lot faster and they use words that's going to search just like on Indeed. If you have a resume on Indeed or on Career Builder, whatever, the algorithms are searching for those words, and so they have to have those words, and it just searches better that way. It's just the way that the system is made, and it's fantastic way of being able to get your information out there because television is not what it used to be. Um,
Yeah.
Television is as if it's doing a reboot between COVID hitting it and then the writer's strike and then there was another strike. I think it was the producers. No, it wasn't. It was the writer's strike and then the actor's strike. It was both back to back. A lot of the money that was going to different countries like BBC and
Right.
UK and Canada, a lot of students that graduated from, oh my goodness, what's the name of the college that all the actors go to?
Juilliard?
Juilliard. There it is. Thank you. Juilliard. They go to Canada to work. I mean, there's a lot of, I mean, William Shatner's from Canada.
Well, Canada
Let's
has a
see,
huge film industry and television
huge.
industry.
Yes. And that's who I worked with for the show and for Repossessed. And they have a closer connection with YouTube than the United States. They can
Okay.
see a lot of people have had cable cut off and they just do YouTube television or they
There's
stream.
a lot of that
A lot of
because
people don't
cable
have
is
a home
getting
phone.
ridiculous. Yeah.
It is. It's very expensive and a lot of people are tired of it. So,
And you can stream from other devices.
mhm. So yes, it is very different. So his question was, is there a big difference between paratelevision and
Hmm.
yes, Morgan Cudson, it does a lot of TV in Canada. And she's a really sweet friend of mine. She's a herpetologist also, like my
Oh,
dad was, and she's a sweetheart. And she's one of the paranormal professionals on some of the shows, um, Paranormal 911 and Paranormal Night Shift, and those are not being filmed anymore right now because the flow of the money from the United States to
yeah.
those locations stopped. And so everything's affecting everything. But YouTube has been going on. COVID didn't stop it. Nothing stopped it. So it's developing faster. So
Well, we
I
just
think
about have to,
cable,
isn't it?
yeah, cable's going to have to step it up. Cable's going to have to step it up. TV paranormal has gotten a little boring too.
Well, I wasn't going to go there, but I agree because
Sorry.
it's formulaic, you
Mm.
know? I mean, it's like
Cookie
this,
cutter.
and you have these characters, and you could interchange them from show to show. You
Yes,
know, you've
absolutely.
got the well, you know, and if something gets formulaic when it's supposed to be spontaneous, who's going to watch that? That's why their
Exactly.
ratings aren't where they should be. And I'm going to tell you, he catches so much hell. But I think, and I'm going to lose viewers, don't go anywhere, but I don't know him. So I don't have a personal opinion, but I do have an opinion on what he did for this industry, which is brought it forward with the drama, and that's Zach Bagans. And I I go to Vegas. When I go to Vegas, I investigate his museum because they let me in and I'd have so much fun, right? And like they let me bring stuff to do it with, and they don't let most people, I don't think, but I didn't say that on here. So, and I'm going to tell you, one of my nightmares is Robert the Doll because you can feel him. If you go to Key West and you're driving around the east side of the island, you can feel him as you go past the museum. That energy is palpable, it's negative, it's big time. Then the house that he was a resident of on not Duval Street, Easton. Well, it's right by Eaton Street. It's right beside where I rent my bicycle when I go there, right? So, and it's right near a theater that had a fire and everyone in there burning. You can feel it, right? Um, you can hear it too if you're paying attention. That I don't like that, but so I'm familiar with Robert the Doll. I have had friends who lived in Johnson City, Tennessee, who took a photograph of him without asking, went home. They came back on an unscheduled trip to Key West to apologize
Mm-hmm.
because of
There's
all of the stuff that
thousands.
was happening. He's bad. He is
Yes.
bad ass news. He seriously is.
Yes,
So,
he is. I'm writing a book now about haunted objects because Repossessed is about haunted objects.
yes,
And oh my God, Robert the Doll, it's no joke. I
he's
do
not.
believe that I believe that he has triple haunting on him.
Yes.
And I do believe that the father of the home
Hmm.
had a relationship with the I think she was more of
Caregiver.
a non-paid caregiver.
Yeah.
And I do believe they had a child together, and I believe she did her thing. And
I mean,
to
it
Robert.
is.
And then the child also had a
Mhm.
big play in that. And then
Yes.
he comes back as an adult and again picks up right where
The same
he left off.
relationship with the, yeah.
Mhm.
And, it's so bizarre because I walked in to the museum and there was a Robert the Doll there. And
Wow.
I mean, that's telling tales out of school. I mean, you can go through there and you'll see it, right? Well, bear in mind my reaction to Robert the Doll. I hadn't heard that he had acquired it, I didn't know anything about it. And I walk in a room and there is Robert, what appears to be Robert the Doll. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, breathe, rabbit. You got this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. And I went and found the employees and I was like, why do you have a fake Robert the Doll? And they were like, what? And I said, why do you have a fake Robert the Doll in this doll room? And they were like, how do you know that's fake? I said, because I know Robert the Doll. I know what he feels like. And that's not the question here. Why do you have that? And he said, well, someone gave this to Zach. And Zach was like, is this real? No, it's not real. But the energy off the doll is there. It is a haunted doll, but it is not that haunted
Well,
doll.
here's the thing. if more people come into that
Intent.
museum, yes, and they think that it is Robert the doll and they have those responses,
Yeah.
it can become
That.
haunted.
In
Yes,
that
in the
way.
same manner as
In that
an
way.
egregore, artificial haunting or an egregore haunting. Blaine is
Yes.
saying that dolls were made to hold the souls of people. That is correct. It was that dolls were meant to be haunted,
Yes.
and the feeling of dread and oppression
Hmm.
comes so strongly off Robert the doll.
Well, and it's
Wow.
not just that. It's it's not just anger. This is going to sound crazy, but Linda said, "How does he feel? His energy? He feels mean. He feels malevolent. He is. If you kiss his toe, okay, not literally, but if you know, or
If you do anything for
may I
him,
please take your photo, Robert? And ostensibly, he'll nod. If he doesn't nod, don't take the freaking picture, or you'll be coming back down to apologize because your whole life falls apart. But and that did happen to my friend,
that's
and
horrible.
it was horrible. Oh my gosh, they
Mm,
had a death.
mm.
They had trouble with their house. They had a death in their family that was unexpected. There was so much stuff. They literally stopped their life to go back down there and apologize to a freaking doll. So, but I mean, people write letters to the museum there all the time because they
Thou,
can't get there to apologize.
yeah.
And they're like, will you just please let him know? Will you let him know? A doll,
We're telling
right?
the doll.
Would you please go tell the doll that we didn't really mean to upset him so much? We want our life back. I mean, this is something that because I love reading books about hauntings. I've always loved reading books about hauntings. 13 Alabama Ghosts and 13 More Alabama Ghosts was my favorite. Catherine Tucker Wyndham came to my school when I was in sixth grade to talk to us. And it's just one of those things that, not that one though, not that haunting. That is a badass doll.
It
He
is.
is a bad doll. And Linda says that how do how do technician spirits know who is who on the other side? The answer given by the technician spirit is that everyone has a frequency signature. You do have a frequency signature. So it's just one of those things. And if you want, I guess I
That's
need to tell
actually
people
that's
what the,
actually how a haunted object can track you
yes.
because it becomes some people call it a what do you call it? Like an attachment. But an attachment is not necessarily something clinging on to you and
Mm-mm.
it's there with you. It's like a little fish hook, like a little
Yeah.
tether. And it can
Like you
say,
got
"Oh,
tagged.
I want to feel you. Oh, I'm going to zip right over here to so and so and know what's going on in their lives. Oh, let's see if I can cause some things to happen
And
that's
it's just
negative."
boredom. I
Mhm.
mean,
Boredom.
I think they're bored. I think they're like, oh, look, let's check around with that life a little bit. What's going to
Mhm.
happen here? It's really an
Kind of a
interest.
Loki spirit is
Oh, yes, a Loki. Oh my gosh. Tell
mhm.
people about a Loki.
Oh gosh. By the way, before I go into that, I see a couple of hashtag cards, hashtag trading cards.
Yes. And
I just wanted to throw that out.
I want to tell people about that real quick. But do you care if I do this before we go to Loki's?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. Some of y'all may not know that I'm also the host of Fate Magazine Radio, or Fate Mag Radio, which is the online voice of Fate Magazine, and which Leah is going to be submitting an article for soon.
Yes.
So I usually give away a magazine, but I just felt like I was going to do something different tonight because why not, right? And a lot of people, Carl didn't know, and Carl knows everything, that Fate Magazine not just doesn't only have magazines, but we have trading cards. And the trading cards are like, this is, we had Lee's topic. This one's mine. Easter Island fascinates me.
Oh,
And
yes.
one of my most exciting moments was when I was at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, came around the corner, and they had one of the Maui heads there. But it also, this is one of our covers. We're famous for our covers because our graphics are unbelievable. And this also, just like a trading card, because it is a trading card, has all kinds of information about that edition. And we've got we've got everything. We've got ghosts and hauntings, a little appropriate for paranormal experience, right? And then I can't read this. Florida's psychic healer, and talking about devil dogs, there's that. Um, Lee had to help me with this. Nefertiti.
Nefertiti, she's so
She
beautiful.
knew how to say it. And then my other passion, which I can't believe it, but flying saucers. And for
Yeah.
those that don't know, Fate magazine has been in publication since 1947. That's right. And our very first cover was the Kevin Arnold UFO story. And the cover is iconic. It's stuck in, mine is back here. I'm not going to dig around and try to find it, but I'll have it next time I do this and I'll show y'all. But I do have, excuse me while I duck out of camera here.
Okay.
But this is one of my favorite. I am not a tattoo girl. I don't have one. But this Fate, Stevie Tombstone, who is a brilliant musician and friend of the magazine, he just fixed my Fate Magazine radio or Fate Mag radio website for me so that my archives are there. But he wrote the story that's the cover of this, Tattoos. Why tattoos?
Oh,
And
wow.
it's a great story. But as an example, I am going to put my specs on to share this with you guys. Do you hear Lee? I won't take but a second. Do you
That's
mind?
okay. Take your time.
But this is our table of contents.
Look at that. That's a
We have
lot of
so many
neat.
stories, and I have a story in a couple of them. There's fun stuff. You wouldn't believe the authors that we have. I mean, it's so much fun. Let's see. Phyllis Scotty is there. Jim Willis is somebody that I would love to read. Um, Ruby Parker, of course, said Stevie. And his article is actually Tattooing Overview. Why are people marking themselves? They've been doing it since the beginning of time. So it's a lot of fun. So anyway, that's what we're doing, is giving away some of these trading cards. So when you put your hashtag in the chat, hashtag cards, then Carl has a program that's built into this that will shuffle through and shuffle through and shuffle through, and it just draws a winner.
That's so nice.
Technology is so much fun, right?
Okay, everybody do the hashtag cards.
They're getting them in.
Get them in, get them in, get them in.
Yeah. And Resnick said it's all about the experience. The artwork is just a bonus. So
That's right.
there you go. But we were talking about dolls and intention, and
You want me to get one of my haunted dolls?
show me, girl.
Okay, I'll have to run in the other room. Just give me a second.
We'll be here. I will talk amongst ourselves. Blaine, put the hashtag, like the little hashtag. Look up, see where Resnick put that up there? Do that. It's the, oh, good Lord. I can't see it from here. Oh my goodness. What's her name? What's her name?
Isn't she beautiful? Okay, let me get to where I
Is
can.
she a Madame Alexander?
She is.
I used to
See
have
her.
those.
See her cameo.
I do.
Isn't she beautiful with her
She
hair bow?
is. I love her bow. Show me the rest of her dress.
This is Guinevere. She's
Oh,
got
good
little
heavens.
bloomers. See her little
She's
bloomers and her
adorable.
shoes. And
I love
she's
Madame
blonde.
Alexander's.
She is not. She doesn't play well with others.
Well, that happens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And she's Guinevere?
Yeah, this is Guinevere. That's what I call her. And her name is something very similar, but she speaks with an accent. So I'm still trying to. Someone actually gave her to me, and I have her sitting on church glass because she's such a turd. She doesn't play well with others. She's known to her hair. She is mean. Blaine knows her. She bit me. She bit me one time. I
Get
was
the heck out.
putting her up, and I had her cradled like this.
She did not.
And I, of course, her mouth did not open,
Well, sure.
but you could see some teeth. She's something else, man. And I also have another haunted object. This is a compact. And a lady named Olivia is connected to this. See if I can do this without dumping all the powder out. It still has the original powder in it.
Really?
This thing right here is about to fall apart. I'm just gonna
Right.
But so
Oh,
she
that's
was.
lovely.
If you are like, if I'm doing my makeup, like if I wanted to use this and just, I can see her over my shoulder. And
Get out.
she has her hair up in a bun, and oh, she was very beautiful.
Is she very
young
proper?
lady? Very.
Yeah. She feels very proper.
I was wondering if you could see anything or
Do
feel
that again. Go that way. I see her. Go back.
She's got her.
Do you see her in? Can you see her right there?
Not
Can
this way.
anybody else see her there?
Can you guys see it?
Because that should be, turn it back. Because that
That's
should be
the
me.
That's a reflection off the computer. She's
But
pointing.
that should be me. But that should be me there. That's not me.
I know. Who? Oh, go back. Go over a little bit right there.
That's not me, and that's not Lee.
Now that's me. See me shaking my hand. Now go back the other way. Okay, go back a little bit. Go back the other way. The other way. Right there.
There.
Now
That's not any of us.
Cat, wave your hand.
You just
that's
waved
you.
yours.
No, that's you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Because I didn't think it looked like me.
But Rez says that he
Yes.
saw a shadow when I first opened it and held it up. So I think that's what you guys saw.
Probably.
Yeah, and then
because it was immediate.
Yeah, that the big blue hair is actually a blue bow.
Right.
Linda. And Blaine saw her also, but she did leave teeth marks in my arm, and it felt like you know how a spiritual scratch feels.
Yeah,
you know,
I
like
do.
burning from the inside.
Yeah.
Gosh,
That's a big burn.
She was just hanging on there, but she's a big girl. But she's beautiful. I've got more, but I've got a lot more.
Yeah.
But
well, I started
and
trying to not have haunted things in my house because I've got both grandmother's stuff, quilts, crochet stuff. I've got almost all of my mother-in-law's stuff here, and I have two. My husband doesn't want to get rid of any of that.
Oh no, yeah.
And I'm like, but we have the memorial flags. His cousin was killed by having to eject from a crashing plane, and the hood didn't work.
Oh my goodness!
So it killed him. But there's so much, and I don't think you want to cuddle with her. That may be drawing you in, buddy. but she
That's
is
how
not
she
friendly.
starts. She's
Yeah.
like a little girl that wants to be hugged and cuddled,
Hmm.
like she was misunderstood
Yes.
and mistreated. But then if you let go of her, and she's not getting your attention, oh God, that's when she starts showing
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
colors.
Well, it's so funny because my dog is showing out now, but I don't know what he's doing. I can't see him, but I hear him. So and that's the one that's like a pony. So
Oh
the
yeah.
little one is just curled up, being sweet and kind. But you know, I find it fascinating because, like Robert the doll, like Guinevere, there's they do have personalities, and people don't really get that it's such a it can fake you out.
Hmm.
I mean, you got bit and you know everything.
No, I don't know everything,
You know
but
a lot.
it happened, and I was shocked. I
Do
said,
you know Bloody
"How?"
Mary from New Orleans? Have you been in her museum?
I'm going next year.
Well, let me know when you're going. I love New Orleans. I'll meet you there. But
Okay.
or you can just pick me up on the way. But she has things there. And the very first time I met her face to face, I was in town. I just called her, said, doing a tour tonight. I want to come on a tour with you. I keep, I'd interviewed her, I don't know how many times. And I'm like, I want to come with you. And she was like, well, I'll have to ask. So they said yes. And we wound up at her house. And she
Oh, wow.
left me because she was like, I know you know what you're doing. I'm going to take people on an individual tour upstairs. You just stay down here and entertain. I don't know these people. So, and she has the different temples, you know, seasonal, I guess. But she is voodoo. And so my worst fear lived in one of her temples. She had a snake in her temple. It
Oh,
was
wow.
in a aquarium kind of a thing. And I'm like, not this girl. Nope, wrong girl. And it was so funny because Lee, I was like, and I'm like, hello, hello. So it was funny. It was so funny. So then she opened this museum a couple of years later. It's on the murder house on North Rampart Street. So, I go in there and I'm wandering through, and I had a question for her because I had seen a piece, you know, obsidian was what I was asking about. So her son is there. He's getting married. They're talking stuff. And she was like, they finished talking. She came over. I was like, can you tell me about obsidian? And she was like, were you eavesdropping? And I'm like, it's not my color Kool-Aid. You're not that interested. No, but I did say that, but we're friends. I can do that. But I was like, why would I do that? And she was like, let me show you. And she goes over, she's got this medicine cabinet. You'll see it when you get there. And she pulls one of the drawers out and she hands it to me. And it is a piece of obsidian with basically pre-Egyptian
Ooh.
stuff on it. So I took a picture of it. And she was cool with that, obviously, because she was holding it. But I was at alien was it one of the ancient aliens conferences out in Pasadena. And so I was talking with the little Egyptian guy with the hat, right? Not
Oh, yeah.
Giorgio, but so anyway, we were talking and I pulled that picture up and I was like, tell me about this. Because she gets stuff from all over the world. She's travels a lot. So he said, that is pre-Egyptian. It's normal language and
Uh-huh.
it's common language. And I was like, that's pretty freaking old. I mean,
Yeah, that's
really.
old.
He was really
That's
impressed. He said, where is this? I said, I'll let you know if I can tell you. I can't tell you without talking to who it belongs to. So, because that's not what you do if you want to keep friends.
That's
But
right.
it was so interesting to me because Phyllis, who started Fate magazine, well, she did. She's one of the oldest or longest running owners of Fate magazine, and she got to interview Zachariah Sitchin,
Oh,
and so that that's an interview that's on YouTube. If
oh,
anybody
how
wants to go and
nice.
see that, because
Absolutely.
I would have loved that. I would have loved that interview, right?
That would be
So
amazing.
at some
Uh,
point,
Blaine just went to New Orleans with his family, and he said the mannequin on the second floor moved when he took his daughter and granddaughter.
was it the one that was by the windows on the front? Because there's little closets and like dormers. Is that where it was, Blaine?
He'll have to get back.
He'll get there.
Yeah,
But I think that you would have a great time there, and I think that you would have a great time with her
I
because
think so. I hope so.
she's
Uh,
very no nonsense. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
that is such a haunted area. So the whole place is haunted because, but she was working in Madame LaLaurie's apartment. We tried to do
Oh,
an interview
wow.
with her there. There was no, that was so blocked. Could not get anything from her out. So I'm like, did you
Wow.
tell her you were doing an interview? You need to talk to these people before you start this stuff up. I mean, if you're in a haunted location, half the time that's not going to work. So it's funny. I got to investigate at Winchester House, and that was kind of the same thing. So she is very cool, Blaine. But she is very no nonsense. But she is one of the nicest people I think I've worked with as far as meeting them out in the field and doing stuff with them. And she does a jam up tour. If you go to New Orleans, you
Good.
need to play with her.
That sounds great.
Everybody, if you go to New Orleans, and she doesn't even know she's getting all this free advertising, but go see her. Get on one of her tours because she will take you through New Orleans. And when she gets up in the cemetery district, she's good because she is a New Orleans person. She is a multi-generational New Orleans person. So, well, what besides the Deep South Paracon, what else you got going on, kiddo?
Oh my goodness, we've got a lot going on. Let's see. Hold on. Let me tell you. I have to keep a
Tell me.
calendar. So, it's coming up.
Now you knew I was going to ask this question, girl.
I should have already had it together. So the 13th, 14th, and 15th of June is the Strange, Dark, and Mysterious Market. It's in South Carolina in a little town called Seneca, South
What part of
Carolina.
South Carolina is that in?
It's near Clemson area. And there's going to be horror merchandise, the macabre, ghost adventures, tales of horror and the supernatural, ghost stories, dark, creepy. There's readers of all sorts, spiders, bugs, just everything creepy and unusual. And the paranormal team of Savannah, and then
Oh,
the South Carolina.
Savannah Paranormal.
Yes, they're
Oh my
coming.
God, they're brilliant. If you ever
Yeah.
get a chance to investigate with them, go. I got to do the Sorrel Weed House with them, and they do a shrimp boil for their midnight snack. Just so you know.
Ooh, how
Okay,
nice.
yeah. Sorry, I had to put that in there because they are brilliant.
They are. So we will be there doing our haunted object laboratory, as well as Saturday night we are going to do the Haygood Mill in Pickens, South Carolina, as a
Oh
ghost
my
hunt,
gosh,
and it's going to be big. It's going to be really big.
that would be.
We've got limited tickets, so I'm hoping that people won't wait to get the tickets. It's on Eventbrite. And the Haygood Mill is a wonderful place because it was a um, trading post for indigenous people as well as the colonists that were coming through. And oh my gosh, it's such a neat place. They have a water wheel that grinds flour and cornmeal and grits
Oh,
and things like that. There's a blacksmith's shop up the street from that, all within the 60 acres of the site, Hagen site, that's on the historic register. There's probably about 9 or 10 different cabins that have been brought from different areas around South Carolina to that
wow.
area. It's used as reservation of sorts for the South Carolina Cherokee and United Tribes of South Carolina.
Right.
We had our powwow there May 3rd. And the petroglyphs there are beautiful. And the museum is built on top of the petroglyphs with a big hole in the center so that you can go through and see it. And there's a
Get
light
out. How
show.
cool is
Yeah.
that?
So we're going to investigate the petroglyphs. There's lots of indigenous elementals that are there, like thunderbirds and the little people are
Yeah.
there. And the cabin at the top of the hill is very haunted. It is the curator of the petroglyphs and the man that runs the place. These two people have been in that cabin a lot. They've had, the cabin's open for different things, and they'd have different stations for like the art tours, or they do the herbal festival. They have a mushroom festival, all things mushrooms and that type of thing. And they have a bed up there in the cabin on the hill. Ooh, that sounds like a nightmare, doesn't it? Cabin on the hill and
It
all the things
does.
happen.
Yes.
Well, they make the
But we
bed.
run to those. So
Yes, and the covers flip back, like they've turned it back. And it's happened
really,
repeatedly. And the curator of the museum she was telling me about it. And they have their own paranormal team, so they're going to be helping us with all of this. So when you go in, we'll investigate the um, I just said it, blacksmith's shop. We'll investigate the mill itself. We'll go through the different cabins down towards the front area. And then we're going to go past the herbal gardens and the museum where the petroglyphs are. And I'm going to do an indigenous ceremony there. Hopefully, we'll be able to merge the way I say it would be to thin the veil. But it's to try to merge both dimensions to where our intention is stated. So spirits that are there that would like to speak to us, they'll know it's a safe place for them to
right.
come. And then that cabin at the top of the hill, and there's even a church in the woods. So yeah, it's going to be
It's the
fantastic.
full Monty.
It is. It's all of it. So we're going to have a great time doing that. All right. So that's the Haunted Object Museum at the Strange, Dark, and Mysterious Market. And then the ghost hunt afterwards on the 14th. The 21st, I'll be in Savannah, Georgia with a paranormal. It's the Paranormal Object. It's not Haunted Object Museum. It's the Paranormal Society Museum.
Cool.
It's with Chris Susie and his wife Megan. They're wonderful, wonderful, very knowledgeable people, and they have got haunted objects from all over the world. A lot of people have loaned them in, and you can go through and investigate them. I'll have the haunted object lab. I'm very curious as to how my haunted objects will respond to their haunted objects. I mean, it could be,
That's always a crapshoot.
yeah, what in the world are we going to have happen? And I have a room inside. It's really nice to do readings. And we'll be teaching parapsychology 101 workshop on site. So that will
That'll
be
be
a lot of
handy.
fun. Yeah, that's going to be fun. And then the 12th and 13th of July, I'll be at the Paracon, CONN. It's in Connecticut at Crosby High School in Waterbury, Connecticut. And it's from 11 to 6. And there's Butch Patrick from the Munsters will be
Mhm.
there. It's a true crime paranormal conference. And
Oh,
I do a show called Serial Killers, Supernatural, and Murderers. And so we'll be there. Blaine's on the panel with me, and we have Thomas Mormling, who's a profiler, and then Gwen is on the show as well as the producer. And so we're going to really dig in and talk about some of the cases. We're really excited about that.
Oh,
It's going
you
to be
should
great.
be.
It's going to be a great show.
Well, thank
The
you.
week,
I
the
can't
weekend
wait to
after
hear it.
that, the weekend after that is the Paranormal Rockdown, and the weekend after that is Gettysburg Bash, and I'll be doing mediumship.
Well, I will be seeing you there.
Oh, will you? Great.
Yes.
Yeah. So
So,
got a lot
are all
going
you
on.
coming? I lost her. Well, she will pop back in. But right now, we are going to go ahead and not pull these cards. That's a whole different can of worms. We're going to go ahead and have Carl do the shuffle while we wait on Lee to come back in. And Carl, are you ready? Here we go. Yay, Tom McNicholas.
Tom McNicholas. All right.
Yay. So, I love being able to do these things. So, Tom, these are coming at you.
That's
So,
fun.
and I already have his address
All
because he
right.
won a magazine. So,
We'll have
anyway,
to, next time I come on, I'll have to give you the tickets for the Deep South Paracomic-Con, and then you can give one away.
that would be fun. Thank you.
That'll be great.
So, we are going to have to go. Thank you so much for being here. I have
Thank you
enjoyed
for
you.
having me.
I just love you.
I just love
And
you too. You're a wonderful person.
you are
You have a
too.
great show. I can tell everybody loves it.
Well, it's a good time. So, for everyone listening and watching, thank you. Thank you for being here. Y'all are the whole reason that we do these shows, and you make it possible. So be safe out there. Do not be out provoking and getting whacked on the nose by spirit. Be nice to them. And I will see you soon, my friend.
You too. Don't forget, hashtag be the light.
Be the light always. Yes. All right. Good night, everyone.